I remember seeing her really quite shortly after all that drama happened, and she was almost trying to pretend she didn't really care and it was all cool and, you know, chill and happy days. But the truth is, I think she is profoundly traumatized by the reaction to her premiership and what she tried to do. And what she sees happening now is almost a vindication, because she never got to make the corrections that she would believe avoid us being in the position that we are now. And the economic indices today...
There is no end to the political drama in the UK at the moment. It is almost like the soap opera adds new episodes every day. Today, a new twist to the story has emerged. Nigel Farage could be the new Prime Minister. How true is this statement? Has Labour completely lost the plot and given up? Will Keir Starmer resign even though it's been only months since he came into office? While you are pondering these questions, we want to urge you to like this video and stick to the end as we dive into this shocking news.
Left-leaning politician Keir Starmer is everything that Donald Trump is against. So, you know, the key relationship will still be with Mr. Farage, I think, and that's all very awkward, isn't it? I was fascinated by Harry Cole's insights in your earlier interview, and his revelation that privately the Prime Minister thinks that Mr. Farage is 3-1 to be the next Prime Minister. I found that quite extraordinary. What that tells you is that finally Labour and the government is waking up to the fact that reform is a serious threat to them. That's still odds against, of course, but I think Nigel Farage will take 3-1 at this point.
Absolutely. I mean, at the time when Harry said that, I thought, is that the first time that's been said? Because that's quite a line, right?
Before we dive into this shocking news, let's take a step back and examine the unprecedented rise of the Reform UK party that Nigel Farage is leading. The Reform UK was formerly called the Brexit Party. In the general elections, Reform UK polled 14.3% of the votes, a remarkable achievement for a far-right party. That number gave the party 5 parliamentary seats. Since the election, Reform has been gaining popularity, especially among disillusioned voters who care passionately about lowering the rate of migration and those who are frustrated with the missteps of the Labour government. A recent survey by the respected Find Out Now group revealed some compelling facts about the remarkable rise of Reform UK. This poll showed that if a general election is held today, Reform and the Conservatives will lead the Parliament. The poll also suggested that Reform UK will have as much as a 24% rise. So, if elections are held this year, Reform will cause a significant upset to the political establishment. Now, this was a few months ago. Things have progressed since then in favour of Farage and his Reform Party. But how did we get here? How did a party that was largely dismissed by the Labour Party less than a year ago make such monumental strides? Voters attracted to Reform don't come from any one political tribe, but ask pollsters and they share a sentiment. They're pretty peeved with the UK in 2025. So the party has prospered mainly because of dissatisfaction with the Conservatives and disappointment with the early signs from Labour. Their ratings have bumped up from around 15 to 20%, thanks to people who previously would have said they liked Farage but were worried about him as PM, but are now saying, well, we've tried the Tories, they didn't work, Labour have taken away my mum's winter fuel allowance, so we may as well try Reform. Indeed, current polling suggests they could, theoretically, nab dozens of seats from Labour, although their actual backers are mainly former Conservative voters, and a general election is years away.
I promise you, when we see the next figures, you'll find we're in recession already. And economics and money operates as much as anything on confidence. But look at Starmer and Reeves together. Does that inspire confidence? They're miserabilists. He even gave a speech, didn't he, Starmer, saying things can only get worse. Well, were you in charge? I agree with you. And the bond markets have woken up to this. Sterling is falling. We haven't quite yet reached the sort of panic that we had under Liz Truss, but Reeves is off in China at the moment, basically saying, please buy our bonds.
And unlike the other main political parties, the chance someone would vote for reform does not change that much depending on the age you are. Their average voter is a Gen X man born between the mid-60s and 1980. It's only among older pensioners that research suggests the level of support falls away. The pattern doesn't seem to follow the cliché that parties on the right grab elderly, traditional, small c conservatives. In other words, the environment is ripe for Farage to thrive. The reason for this widespread voter support is Farage's readiness to talk about issues in a way that other politicians just won't. He would say those politicians are too cautious or politically correct. They'd say they have a responsibility not to stir up tensions. Back in 2016, he unveiled his poster depicting refugees on the continent and claiming immigration was at a breaking point during the EU referendum in 2016. Some other Leave campaigners said it made them shudder, and it was even reported to the police. But did it stir up a conversation about the EU that Farage wanted? It certainly did.
Is about NATO. Now, you know, he said a few weeks ago, if people don't pay their way, well, then Russia can do what the hell they like. That's been taken by everybody, former foreign secretaries, former ambassadors, to say, look, America will withdraw from NATO once Trump is in, so we must have our own European Defence Force, even talk of nuclear weapons being in the control of the European Union. What I said to Trump, very clearly, if Poland is invaded, what will America do? If people have paid their fees, America will be there 100%. Yep, 100%. NATO, America is going to be there. All people have to do is pay the 2%. So let's end all this nonsense about Trump wanting to leave NATO.
Recently, Mr. Farage was met with howls of criticism when he questioned the police's assessment of what had gone on in the Southport attacks. His willingness to jump into controversy is part of the brand, and for his backers, part of the appeal. In other words, his message resonates with the broader public, who often feel that politicians speak with carefully crafted statements. Another reason for the party's rapid growth is the friends Farage has across the Atlantic. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are publicly known as friends of Nigel Farage. Forget about their little online drama. The friendship between the three has played a vital role in the surging popularity of Farage, possibly the reason he may replace Keir Starmer as PM. The relationship between the UK and the United States is going to be awkward at best, given past Labour statements about Donald Trump, and we know Trump is a man that holds grudges. Foreign Secretary David Lammy is among those to have thrown barbs at Trump in the past, once branding him a racist KKK and Nazi sympathizer. Adding to the government's potential problems, Trump filed a legal complaint against the Labour Party after around 100 activists travelled to the US to support his Democratic rival, Kamala Harris. Healthy Secretary isn't left out. In 2017, he described the president-elect as, "Trump is such an odious, sad little man. Imagine being proud to have that as your president." He has also described Trump as a horrible man. With all these, political analysts have predicted a difficult relationship between Starmer's government and the incoming Trump administration.
Shocked and angered at the killing of George Floyd and the response of President Trump and the US authorities to the peaceful protests, to people rightly demanding justice, has been an affront to humanity. The last week has shone a spotlight on the racism, discrimination and injustice experienced by those from black and minority ethnic communities in the US, in the UK and across the world. Martin Luther King said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere."
And if you don't know the importance of cordial relationships with the US to the UK, let us tell you. The United States and the United Kingdom have historically enjoyed and maintained a special relationship rooted in common history and shared values. This special relationship includes trade corporations, which help the UK boost its economy because the US remains the biggest market for consumers, Then you have the shared intelligence that has helped enhance security in the... As Nigel Farage himself has said, that relationship is necessary to prevent World War III.
The America election matters more to you than the United Kingdom general election?
No, the American election doesn't matter more to me, it matters more to us. It matters more to the world. We are closer now than we've been at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis.
So, could Labour's past come back to hurt them when it comes to Trump? We can only wait and see.
For Nigel Farage to be the Prime Minister.
Look, I think it's a good story. You know, I'm going to be tweeting about it. That's quite the revelation, I think. Of course, just, you know, sources and all of that.
Yeah, but we know how they work. Invariably, they are true.
What that shows you is that people at the top are taking reform very, very seriously, and it actually echoes what I've heard.
As for Farage's possibility of becoming the man at the helm of affairs in the UK, we can't rule it out. Stranger things have happened, though probably not many of them in the staid, centuries-old tapestry of British politics. For now, we can do nothing but watch with fascination as the Reform UK membership balloons. Do you think Nigel Farage will make a good Prime Minister? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.